Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Reshma Tiwari with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Centre State Science Conclave virtually at Ahmedabad in Gujarat. Says India moving towards leading fourth industrial revolution. Prime Minister Modi speaks to his UK counterpart Elizabeth Truss over phone. Discusses several bilateral issues including progress in implementation of Roadmap 2030. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal says India and US to strengthen economic relations and strategic partnership. Enforcement Directorate carries out searches at 6 premises in Kolkata in mobile gaming app fraud case. Seizes over 7 crore rupees in cash. Prime Minister to launch Cheetah Reintroduction Project on 17 September. King Charles III proclaimed as Britain's new monarch in royal ceremony in London. In Durand Cup football, quarter-final match between Bengaluru FC and Odisha FC underway in Kolkata. In US Open tennis, Iga Swiatek to take on Ons Jabeur in women's singles final tonight. And in cricket, the Asia Cup final between Pakistan and Sri Lanka to be played in Dubai tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated a 2-day Centre State Science Conclave at Ahmedabad in Gujarat through video conferencing. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Modi said, when India is moving towards leading the fourth industrial revolution, the role of India's science and people related to this field is crucial. He said in such a situation, the responsibility of people in administration and policy making increases significantly. He said science is like that energy in the development of the 21st century India, which has the power to accelerate the development of every region and the development of every state. The Prime Minister emphasized that science is the basis of solutions, evolution and innovation. He said with this inspiration, New India is today moving forward with the mantra of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan and Jai Anusandhan. Mr. Modi urged all states to work together in building India as a global center of science and technology in the Amrit Kaal.
इस अमृत काल में भारत को रिसर्च और इनोवेशन का ग्लोबल सेंटर बनाने के लिए हम सब ने एक साथ मिलकर के अनेक मोर्चों पर काम करना है. अपनी साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी से जुड़ी रिसर्च को हमें लोकल स्तर पर लेकर जाना है. आज समय की मांग है कि हर राज्य अपनी स्थानीय समस्याओं के हिसाब से स्थानीय समाधान तैयार करने के लिए इनोवेशन पर बल दे. अब जैसे कंस्ट्रक्शन का ही उदाहरण लीजिए. जो टेक्नोलॉजी हिमालय के क्षेत्रों में उपयुक्त है वो जरूरी नहीं है कि पश्चिमी घाट में भी उतनी ही प्रभावी हो.
The Prime Minister asked the countrymen to celebrate the achievements of the Indian scientists with great enthusiasm.
हमने अपने वैज्ञानिकों के काम को उतना सेलिब्रेट नहीं किया जितना किया जाना चाहिए था. इस वजह से साइंस को लेकर हमारे समाज के एक बड़े हिस्से में उदासीनता का भाव पैदा हो गया. जब हम अपने वैज्ञानिकों की उपलब्धियों को सेलिब्रेट करते हैं तो साइंस हमारे समाज का स्वाभाविक हिस्सा बन जाती है. वो पार्ट ऑफ कल्चर बन जाती है. इसलिए सबसे पहला आग्रह मेरा यही है, आप सभी राज्यों से आए हुए लोग हैं, हम अपने देश के वैज्ञानिकों की उपलब्धियों को जमकर के सेलिब्रेट करें.
Mr. Modi said the number of innovation labs should also be increased in the institutions of higher education in the states. The Prime Minister said his government is working with the vision of science-based development, and since 2014, there has been a substantial increase in investment in the field of science and technology. He said, due to the efforts of the government, India has risen to 46th rank in the Global Innovation Index from the 81st position in 2015.
सरकार के प्रयासों से आज भारत ग्लोबल इनोवेशन इंडेक्स में 46वें स्थान पर है. जबकि 2015 में 81 नंबर पर था। इतने कम समय में हम 81 से 46 तक आए हैं, लेकिन यहाँ रुकना नहीं है, अभी और ऊपर जाना है। आज भारत में रिकॉर्ड संख्या में पेटेंट हो रहे हैं, नए नए इनोवेशन हो रहे हैं। आज इस कॉन्क्लेव में इतने सारे स्टार्टअप साइंस के सेक्टर से हमारे यहाँ आए हैं। देश में स्टार्टअप की लहर बता रही है कि बदलाव कितनी तेजी से आ रहा है।
Speaking on the occasion, Science and Technology Minister Jitendra Singh said, under the Prime Minister's leadership, the government has taken up various initiatives to boost private sector participation in science and technology.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने निरंतर विज्ञान, नवाचार, इनोवेशन को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता दी है और उसका नतीजा ये है कि आज हिंदुस्तान के घर घर में टेक्नोलॉजी प्रवेश कर चुकी। और ये इसलिए संभव हुआ प्रधानमंत्री जी कि आपने अनेकों ऐसे ऐतिहासिक निर्णय लिए जिनको लेने का शायद पिछली सरकारों में साहस न था। ये आप ही के कार्यकाल में संभव हुआ कि अंतरिक्ष विभाग पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेशन के लिए खोल दिया गया। आज वो गगनयान की तैयारी कर रहे हैं।
The conclave is being organized to strengthen the coordination between centre and state governments and collaboration mechanism in promoting innovation and entrepreneurship.
Prime Minister Modi today congratulated Elizabeth Truss on assuming the office of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. In a telephonic conversation, both the leaders committed to further strengthening the comprehensive strategic partnership between India and UK. The two leaders discussed various issues of bilateral interest, including the progress in the implementation of the Roadmap 2030, ongoing free trade agreement negotiations, defence and security cooperation, and the people-to-people ties between both countries. Mr. Modi appreciated her contributions to the India-UK bilateral relationship in her previous roles as Trade Secretary and Foreign Secretary. On behalf of the people of India, Prime Minister Modi conveyed deep condolences to the royal family and the people of the United Kingdom on the demise of Queen Elizabeth II.
King Charles III was proclaimed as the new monarch of Britain in a historic ceremony of the Accession Council at St. James's Palace in London today. That was televised for the first time in history. The throne had passed to the 73-year-old former Prince of Wales following the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, on Thursday. God save the King were the words with which those gathered reaffirmed the proclamation made by the clerk of the council.
I, Charles III, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of my other realms and territories, King, Defender of the Faith, do faithfully promise and swear that I shall inviolably maintain and preserve the settlement of the true Protestant religion as established by the laws made in Scotland in prosecution of the claim of rights, and particularly by an act intituled An Act for Securing the Protestant Religion and Presbyterian Church Government, and by the acts passed in the Parliament of both kingdoms for union of the two kingdoms, together with the government, worship, discipline, rights, and privileges of the Church of Scotland. So help me God.
The ceremony was attended by 200 members of the Privy Council, including former Prime Ministers Boris Johnson, Theresa May, David Cameron, Gordon Brown, Tony Blair, and John Major. After his proclamation, King Charles also held his first meeting of the Privy Council. The Privy Council is a group of senior politicians who advise the monarch. King Charles said it was his most sorrowful duty to announce the death of his mother. He approved the Queen's funeral day to become a bank holiday. However, it is yet to be known when it will take place.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today said India's strong international friendships came to the forefront during the global COVID pandemic. Interacting with the Indian community at Riyadh this evening, the minister said Saudi Arabia stood by India as a trustworthy and helpful friend by providing oxygen supplies. The minister said India produced its own vaccines and also drove people to be vaccinated. He emphasized that manufacturing PPE kits, masks and medicines in 2020 to tackle the pandemic was a huge achievement for India. Dr. Jaishankar also elaborated upon the various schemes, including Har Ghar Jal, being undertaken by the Narendra Modi government to improve the lives of the people, Driving home the point that the world sees India in a new light today, the minister said under the Vande Bharat mission, over 70 million people were brought back from all over the world during the pandemic. The minister reached Riyadh this evening on a 3-day visit to Saudi Arabia.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal reaffirmed the desire of both India and the US to continue to work towards strengthening economic relations and strategic partnership. Mr. Goyal said this while addressing an event hosted by US-India Strategic Partnership Forum in Los Angeles. Touching upon the growth story that is unfolding in India, the minister mentioned that 2 free trade agreements, FTAs, have already been finalized this year and expressed hope for the conclusion of at least 2 more FTAs by the end of this year. The Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said fruitful discussions were held over the course of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework Ministerial IPEF meeting in Los Angeles. He said the discussions aimed at bringing together a group of like-minded, rules-based, transparent countries with a shared interest in an open Indo-Pacific region.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Center State Science Conclave virtually at Ahmedabad in Gujarat. Says India moving towards leading 4th Industrial Revolution. Prime Minister Modi speaks to his UK counterpart Elizabeth Truss over phone, discusses several bilateral issues including progress in implementation of Roadmap 2030. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal says India and US to strengthen economic relations and strategic partnerships. Enforcement Directorate carries out searches at 6 premises in Kolkata in mobile gaming app fraud case, seizes over 7 crore rupees in cash. Prime Minister to launch Cheetah Reintroduction Project on 17th September. King Charles III proclaimed as Britain's new monarch in royal ceremony in London. In Durand Cup football, quarter-final match between Bengaluru FC and Odisha FC underway in Kolkata. In US Open tennis, Iga Swiatek to take on Ons Jabeur in women's singles final tonight, and in cricket, the Asia Cup final between Pakistan and Sri Lanka to be played in Dubai tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देखते हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथ वाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch the Cheetah Reintroduction Project on the 17th of this month. Disclosing this at the inaugural meeting of the National Conference for the Zoo Directors being held in Odisha capital Bhubaneswar today, the Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bhupendra Yadav, informed that under the project, cheetahs are being brought from Namibia. Our correspondent has more details.
Stating that this is for the first time that the cheetah is being reintroduced after its disappearance from India in the 1950s, the minister emphasized on the need to connect the younger generation with the world of the wild animals. Calling upon the Jew authorities to make the Jews a place of educating people about the wild animals, the minister said that the Jews serve in adding to the enjoyment of the people, particularly of the low and middle income strata of our society. He added that the Jews are also a kind of stress buster as a side product, and this needs to be recognized. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said that the Congress government in Rajasthan has failed on every front. Mr. Shah was addressing the BJP's Booth Worker Sankalp Mahasammelan in Jodhpur today. He He said Congress has failed to fulfill the promises made during the assembly elections.
गहलोत जी ध्यान से सुनिएगा, आपके वादे याद कराने आया हूं। 2018 में राहुल बाबा के साथ अंट वादे किए थे, 5 साल होने को आए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी आपका हिसाब मांगती है। क्या हुआ? गहलोत सरकार विकास का काम नहीं कर सकती, रोड रास्ता नहीं बना सकती, बिजली के कारखाने नहीं लगा सकती, किसानों को बिजली नहीं मुहैया करा सकती, युवाओं को रोजगारी नहीं दिया। वो कर सकती है तो वोट बैंक की राजनीति कर सकती है, तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति कर सकती है।
Earlier in the day, the Home Minister addressed the concluding session of the National Working Committee of BJP's OBC Morcha in Jodhpur. He also laid the foundation stone of the Border Tourism Development Project in the Tanot Temple Complex near the India-Pakistan border area in Jaisalmer. Mr. Shah also paid tributes to the martyrs at Vijay Stambh in Tanot. Longewala Post, situated near Tanot on the border area, is widely known for the bravery that the Indian Armed Forces displayed during the 1971 war with Pakistan.
Union Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare, Bharti Praveen Pawar, today said the central government has initiated several measures to improve medical facilities for people at the village level. She visited AIIMS in Bibi Nagar in Yadadri Bhuvangiri district of Telangana state. She inaugurated medical equipment like advanced ultrasound scanner and X-ray labs on this occasion. Speaking to the media after reviewing the medical facilities at the hospital, the minister said, due to initiatives taken by the central government, the number of higher medical institutions like AIIMS has gone up to 22 from 6 a few years ago. Stating that the centre has taken many measures, she said now people are getting the services of a wellness centre at the village level. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has said that India is moving ahead on the path of progress and prosperity, and the credit goes to the strong and capable leadership provided by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Mr. Thakur was addressing the program of 75 years of progressive Himachal at Gonpur Banehda in Una district. The minister said during the COVID pandemic, when the whole world was in the grip of the pandemic, the Prime Minister not only dealt with the crisis effectively, but also ensured that the country's economy is not affected. The minister remarked the Prime Minister is working hard to lay a strong foundation for a new India so that the nation can become a power to be reckoned with.
Enforcement Directorate ED is carrying out search operations at 6 premises in Kolkata today in an investigation relating to a mobile gaming application. During the search operation, huge cash of more than 7 crore rupees has been found at the premises. One person, Amir Khan, had launched a mobile gaming application, namely eNuggets, which was designed for the purpose of defrauding public. During the initial period, the users were rewarded with commission and the balance in the wallet could be withdrawn hassle-free. This provided initial confidence among users, and they started investing bigger amounts for greater percentage of commission and a greater number of purchase orders. A case was registered by ED on the basis of FIR under various sections of IPC by Kolkata Police against Amir Khan and others based on a complaint filed by Federal Bank authorities. The Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana PMMSY completed its second anniversary today. The scheme envisages the generation of 68 lakh employment by the end of 2024-25. Fisheries sector has shown an impressive growth of 14.3% from 2019-20 to 2021-22. Fish production has reached an all-time high of 161.87 lakh tons during 2021-22. The Department of Fisheries, Union Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying held an event in New Delhi to commemorate the second anniversary. Minister of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Purushottam Rupla, was the chief guest at the event. He launched a booklet on the achievements of the scheme in the last 2 years.
In Maharashtra, the Principal Accountant General Office in Mumbai has begun Pension at Your Doorstep initiative. For Pension Samvad, pensioners can register their grievances online or on the toll-free number. They can even visit Principal Accountant General's office on Friday and resolve their issues. In a special interview with AIR, the Principal Accountant General of Mumbai, Jaya Bhagat, said some issues are solved immediately or within 5 to 6 working days.
I would say that we've received more than 22,000 requests and grievances over the last year and a half, and from April 2021 onwards. And these requests or grievances have come through various avenues, through personal visits. Then we have a toll-free number, 1800 2200 14, calling that toll-free number, which is answered by a human voice, one of our officers on the other end. Okay. Or we have a voicemail service. Then I've introduced an online drop box and a physical drop box on our office premises called the Pension Seva Patra and the Pension Samvad, wherein we interact with pensioners over WhatsApp video calls or Zoom video calls and sort out the issues that are troubling them once they've registered for the Pension Samvad.
The Gujarat government today announced the first ever cinematic tourism policy in Ahmedabad today. The policy will be effective for 5 years from 2022 to 2027. Announcing the policy, Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel said this policy will help in strengthening the filmmaking infrastructure in the state. It will also bring all the service providers associated with filmmaking on one platform and will boost tourism activities in the state, he added. This scheme aims to promote cinematic tourism through the development of film infrastructure and the creation of attractive opportunities for cinema in Gujarat. This scheme offers various financial and non-financial incentives for filmmakers. 4 MOUs worth 1,022 crore rupees were signed in the presence of Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and various leading investors from the film industry, including famous Bollywood actor Ajay Devgan.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we bring you the story of Green Revolution in India.
All India Radio played a significant role during the Green Revolution period in the country. The Green Revolution, ably led by agriculture scientist Dr. M.S. Swaminathan in the late 60s, has indeed come a full circle. A plant geneticist by training, Dr. Swaminathan's contributions to the agricultural renaissance of India have led to his being widely referred to as the scientific leader of the Green Revolution movement.
Synergy between technology and public policy is exceedingly important. Technology alone cannot do anything. For example, we had high-yielding varieties of seeds, but if they cannot be multiplied, if they cannot be taken to the farmer, given the inputs, the seed itself will not do anything at all. So we require a political administration which is progressive, which is responsive to the people's needs.
American agronomist Norman Borlaug's research of genetic mutation in plants helped start the Green Revolution. Borlaug expanded his coordinated breeding efforts to India, succeeding a large increase in wheat production and forever changing the face of agriculture for the whole world.
There are a lot of barriers you have to go through in trying to change change a stagnant traditional agriculture in a food deficit nation. Everybody says the peasant farmer in these countries is resistant to change. That's not true. If he sees, demonstrated on his own land, that package of technology can double, triple, quadruple like happened in India and later in China.
Addressing a public rally in Prayagraj of Uttar Pradesh in 1965, then Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri gave the slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan to enthuse the soldiers to defend India and simultaneously cheering farmers to do their best to increase the production of food grains to reduce dependence on imports.
आज हमारे देश के लिए जरूरी एक जय जवान और एक जय किसान और फिर उसी से सारे देश का एक जय हिंद का नारा लगता है। आपसे आशा करूंगा कि आप उसे दोहराएंगे। एक तो जय जवान, जय जवान, जय किसान, जय किसान, जय हिंद।
India today has taken a giant leap into digital agriculture. Backed by ambitious schemes of the central government, the new age Indian farmer is now being empowered with cutting-edge enabling agri-tech like big data, artificial intelligence, blockchain, remote sensing, drones and new technologies. Through AIR, farmers are apprised of the government schemes like Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana, Har Khet Ko Pani, More Crop Per Drop, including emerging micro-irrigation technologies, artificial intelligence-enabled water conservation techniques, and climate-resilient seed varieties. AIR has stepped up its activities of agriculture broadcast with the launch of Kisan Vani program, broadcast from 96 stations across the country. The agriculture programs are mounted in regional and local dialects from different stations. Local radio stations also broadcast regular programs on rural development.
In Durand Cup football, Bengaluru FC sealed the second semi-final berth after defeating Odisha FC 2-1 in the quarter-final in Kolkata. Mohammedan SC has already booked a spot in the semi-final by defeating Kerala Blasters FC 3-0 in first quarter-final at Kolkata last evening. The third quarter-final will be played between Mumbai City FC and Chennai FC tomorrow and on Monday. Hyderabad FC will take on Rajasthan United in the fourth quarter-final. In the US Open tennis, top seed Iga Swiatek will take on Tunisia's Ons Jabeur in women's singles final later tonight. Swiatek of Poland will look to affirm her place as the top-ranked player, while Jabeur could become the first African woman to win the US Open. The men's singles final will be played tomorrow between Carlos Alcaraz of Spain and Norwegian tennis star Casper Ruud. This high-stakes match will not only crown a first-time Grand Slam champion but also a new world number one. In cricket, then Asia Cup T20 final is all set to take place between Pakistan and Sri Lanka at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Indian time. In the tournament, Sri Lanka has won all three matches in the Super 4 stage of the tournament, while Pakistan won 2 out of their 3 Super 4 matches to book a seat in the final of Asia Cup.
And now let us have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Mumbai is likely to have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Kolkata is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Srinagar, Jammu and Muzaffarabad are expected to have a partly cloudy sky with the possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Muzaffarabad, Leh and Gilgit will have a partly cloudy sky. In the northeast, Guwahati, Shillong, Gangtok, Agartala and Itanagar will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Imphal, Aizawl and Kohima will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Centre State Science Conclave virtually at Ahmedabad in Gujarat, says India moving towards leading fourth industrial revolution. Prime Minister Modi speaks to his UK counterpart, Elizabeth Truss, over phone, discusses several bilateral issues including progress in implementation of Roadmap 2030. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal says India and the US to strengthen economic relations and strategic partnerships. Enforcement Directorate carries out searches at 6 premises in Kolkata in mobile gaming app fraud case. Seizes over 7 crore rupees in cash. Prime Minister to launch Cheetah reintroduction project on 17th of September. King Charles III proclaimed as Britain's new monarch in royal ceremony in London. In Durand Cup football, Bengaluru FC sealed semi-final berth after defeating Odisha FC in Kolkata. In US Open tennis, Iga Swiatek to take on Ons Jabbar in women's singles final tonight. And in cricket, the Asia Cup final between Pakistan and Sri Lanka to be played in Dubai tomorrow. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.